is Jade Bertrand, and we are really happy to have you here tonight because it's a really special event. We are celebrating the 15th anniversary of the Inclusive and Social Business Certificate from HEC Paris. So we have some really cool people invited here. And now I'm going to introduce Bénédicte Fèvre-Avignon to talk about the creation of the certificate and how it's been like a really cool journey until now.
Thank you very much. Great introduction, a cool journey with you all. So it's such a joy, you know, to celebrate this 15th anniversary with you tonight. It's an exceptional moment, no? With so many guest speakers. We are, I think, very fortunate. And what I wanted to say is that this 15th anniversary, 15 years adventure has been a collective adventure with you all. You all played a role. And let's come back to the purpose of this adventure, which is, I would come back to the quote of Professor Yunus at the first lunch with Franck Ribou, and he said to Franck Ribou, there are two ways to make business. There is business to make money, and you said, and there is business to do good to people. So I would say that the purpose of this whole adventure is to explore how business can do good to people. Obviously looking at the most vulnerable people. Obviously looking on how we can give access to important essential goods and services to all. On how we can provide access to decent work. There are some specialists of decent work, and where is Charles? And human rights to all, and we spent the whole day actually with the current cohort at ADECO, and Denis Machuel asked us to spend the whole day brainstorming about what could be the social role of ADECO on, obviously providing access to everybody, access to work to everybody. So this has been our crazy journey on, during 15 years all together. And through the social business chair that we created also, I'd like to mention, obviously, Laetitia Dornano. And Laetitia's mother is here, Isabelle Dornano, founder of Sisley, and who was the first person to trust us, and then other people followed. And it was in 2008, in the financial crisis. So I'd like to, and so we created the social business chair, then we co-created the action tank, and today it's not the end. We are launching a new adventure, which is the Inclusive Economy Center with Marike. Where is Marike? Marike, maybe you can stand. So Marike is the academic director of the Inclusive Economy Center, and she's a top researcher working on behavioral economics and how to help all these models scale up, like the Blédina, Projet Malin projects. And we created also recently with Gilles, the Impact Company Lab, also to promote this kind of exploration, experimentation approach. So I obviously want to thank very much you all, and starting with Professor Yunus, and who inspired us so much from the start. And I think nobody would have happened on this certificate, on this chair, on this Inclusive Economy Center without Professor Yunus. So thank you so much, Professor Yunus. So since October 2005, we have not stopped interacting together and exploring things together and trying to raise awareness. And you keep on traveling all over the world to mobilize all business people. So thank you so much. A big applause to Professor Yunus for And it's the first time we meet him since the start of the COVID, I think, you know? It's the first time we see you again. So it's, you know, an event, a real event. 3 years. He's coming from Bangladesh, yeah, for us, and maybe for other people as well, but probably. And thank you very much, Martin, for having trusted also our crazy adventure from the start. And so we have 2 co-presidents together. Yeah. And Martin played a very important role, and obviously created also the Action Tank together with Emmanuel and many business people like Jean-Pascal Tricoire and many companies. And I have to mention Schneider Electric, who is a great supporter from the start. And yeah, big applause to Schneider Electric as well. And we're happy to see Danone. Danone is in the room with Valérie and some other people. Yeah, so Danone, Renault. We had, you know, so many interactions with our friends from Renault. So it has been, you know, beautiful collaboration, you know, during many years, Air Liquide and so on, and Action Tank, the Action Tank, obviously. We have Jacques, Nicolas, and Margot. I think Margot is here as well. So yeah, many interactions. So many people I'd like to thank, you know, with all my heart today. And I have to also, yes, thank all the profs who participated to the adventure and taught during 15 years. So we are ending the 15th cohort today or tomorrow. And we have some students of the 15th anniversary, 15th cohort. And Professor, you asked me if it was the end. No, it's not the end. No, we'll have a 16th cohort next year. And I want to thank all the profs and you know, companies like Archipel & Co. with David. Where are you? David, the pillars of the certificate. Charlie, so many you know, very key people for this certificate, for the chair. Obviously, Frédéric d'Alsace, he's not here. And the students and the alumni and all the companies and Cécile also, Laurent, so many people I should mention. Okay, and the alumni who also provide us with consulting projects and lots of different experimentations to do with the students. I'd like to thank, a warm thank to Elisabeth. A big applause to Elisabeth. She's a key pillar. Hello, Jean. Sodexo also joins us. No, from Sodexo. Yes, and also S&O for supporting us, Lauriane, Cécile, and S&O Institute. You know, this Inclusive Economy Center, this certificate is within the Society and Organizations Institute that is developing research, education. So many warm thanks to all of you. And I leave the floor to Martin. Thank you again, you know, for joining us tonight and inspiring us as well.
Thank you, Benedict, and a big applause for Benedict. He played such a huge role. I'm very honored to be there, very pleased to be there, very honored to be sitting aside Professor Yunus. One of the secrets of the Professor Yunus, he has many secrets. I'm very astounded because a few minutes ago, I told him what I was trying to do in my job. He said, I make it already in Bangladesh, training nurses and making digital healthcare and things like that. But one of the secrets is the certificate is 15-year-old, and you can't see that Muhammed Yunus has 15 more years than he has at the beginning. But maybe we can remind how it started 15 years ago. We had this wonderful idea, we thought it was wonderful, to do in the same time the practical, the field work with the Action Tank, the academic work with the HEC, research, and training, and to do all together and to use the academic to be able to evaluate, to assess the consistency and the performance of the social project business. That was a huge idea. So we wanted to announce it to all the world. And so we organized a press conference with the Nobel Prize of Peace, with the CEO of Danone, with myself, who was at this time the member of the French government, with the CEO of HEC, together in a room, and there was no journalist. One journalist. And the driver to make the photographer. So the historical picture has been taken by his driver. And it reminds me a sentence of not somebody from Bangladesh, but the little country which is just aside, India, from Muhammed Gandhi. Muhammed Gandhi said, first, no, he didn't say so noisy. First, they ignore you. That was the case at this time. Then, they laugh at you. Then they fight you. And you know something about that. And then you win. And then you win. And I had this quotation in my office for years, because it's a story of what we're trying to do. First, ignorance, then mockery, say they will never succeed to do something important with some weak means, without a lot of money, but they don't know the energy that we have, that you have, and the capability to make programs and to make them succeed with tenacity. For instance, one of the programs which has exactly the same year as a certificate, with the program Malin, which is aimed at giving baby food at lower price to the children which parents don't have any high salaries. We've reached the 100,000 result. Is that correct, Benjamin? After years of difficulties. It's little figures for Bangladesh, but it's high figures for France. And it was inspired by your yogurt at the beginning. So, the third thing I wanted to say that one of the most fantastic accomplishments of being part of this adventure is to meet you sometimes by chance, and more and more, year after year, as there are more alumni, you can by chance, because you cross the road of a project, of a new initiative, you cross the road of somebody who says, oh, 10 years ago, I was in the certificate. And in this certificate, I met a few entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, who give me the confidence to do something, or with whom I share a new idea. I came without idea, with my naivety, but discussing with somebody, I had this idea, and I spent years on this idea, and now this idea is a reality. How come to you to say, well, I've done something, I would like to shift to another project, could you share with me your experience? And to create this kind of network of alumni and teachers, because the characteristic of most of the teachers is to be themselves involved in social business or in projects in links with social business, is to have this community who can together build other projects, train other students, take another initiatives. And that's absolutely wonderful. And at a time where we see that most and most there are needs for students who express their needs to find the meaning of their life, to contest the dominant model of economics and of environment. We want to say we can build another way to solve the problem of the world. The idea we had 15 years ago with Emmanuel, with the Professor Yunus, with Benedict, and with so many friends who were together with us, is more and more accurate. And when I say more and more accurate, it doesn't mean that it is for the future. The one we have already trained, the project we have already initiated, are so powerful and sometimes just in the between of the environmental issues and the social issues, because the idea of frugal innovation, which is the center of our project, is really something which has a big signification for the big issues that we are facing. So thank you very much, Professor, to have helped us to do that. Thank you for all the students, trainees, future teachers to be there, to be part of the community, and to make us proud when we'll celebrate the 20th anniversary, the 30th anniversary, and the centenary of the certificate. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Martin. I hand over to Gilles.
Hello. I know that you have a lot of secrets, but one of the secrets is I saw you 15 years ago. You are exactly the same today. And it's not my case. and I would like to have this secret.
Okay.
First secret. I'm here only to say 4 things. The first, it's for personal reasons. Because we are involved in a job, we are in a company, we make a lot of things. But certainly, from the first time that I met you in Bangladesh, I remember very well, in the middle of the countryside, early in the morning, it was beautiful. And after that, a lot of discussion. Certainly, the fact that you discuss with you, with many others, changed my manner to think my own impact and my manner to consider how I have to work in my company. Schneider Electric was involved in sustainability, but not in the same manner before and after. And it was very interesting to meet you. I'm sure each of us, we need to have mentors, not a lot, but some, in order to be more ambitious, to be disturbed by a vision which is not our own vision, because very often we are very happy, we consider that we think exactly what we have to think. And the discussion with you about the woman, about the entrepreneurship, about the manner to be active for the poor people and with the poor people was very important. My first thing, it's personal, because never I will forget this time with you. And when I see the people who are here, we are now more than a community. Many of you, you are friends. And it's because it's not only a question of business, it's not only a question of how we make our company more disruptive, more new ideas that the others don't have. It's because it exists something which is linked to the conviction, and I'm sure conviction is very important in strategy. Strategy is not only a question of benchmark, it's a question of people and how we are involved in the strategy in a deep manner. First, thank you for me. The second is for Schneider Electric. I remember very well. We were at the top level in sustainability. It's true today, too, but not in the same manner. But in fact, never before, we had the vision that we had a responsibility for the poor people. We were very committed for environment, climate, and so on, with a lot of good practice, sometimes best practice in terms of social ethics and so on. But never we had the vision that first we have a responsibility to address the topic of the people who have no access to electricity, the responsibility to understand how we have to change that. It's not only a question of technology and innovation and product, it's a question of that, but not only of that, it's a question of how do we support entrepreneurship locally. It's why we have now 4 impact funds, and Christophe is here to manage this impact fund and to be linked to many entrepreneurs everywhere around the world. I remember very well my meeting in your office early in the morning to show the mother of this lantern. The first time that Schneider Electric designed a lantern lighting, because sure, to provide access to electricity for the people who have none, it's a question of communication. You can charge your mobile. It's a question of lighting. And for many, many reasons, for the youth, for the women, and after that I had a lot of time in many HEC camps where the people didn't have access to electricity, and how this access to electricity changed the life of people. And certainly it's because we had this interaction, it's because Danone and some project of Danone and some other company, that in Schneider Electric we consider that at the top of our vision of responsibility, we have to transfer skills to these people. We have to support them when they would try to be entrepreneurs. We have to design new solutions, and we have to enrich and to organize a network with many startups everywhere around the world, especially in Asia, Africa, and in different places. And for that, thank you. It's only the beginning of the journey, especially in Africa. You know that half of the youth in 2050 will be in Africa. And sure, we have to be more involved to share skills. And for us, it's a part of the responsibility of the company. And we are sure that the S in ESG is not the service of the cake, but something which is give the vision of the value of all the other commitments. And you can see that. To be short, my third thank is for Benedict. Because we are here because Benedict. I can say HEC, many things, it's true. But if Benedict doesn't spend a lot of time to organize a network between us, was not involved with many others in HEC about this topic, never we will be in the position where we would like to be in the future. For a company like Schneider Electric to be partner of this dynamic during 15 years, it's not a question of money. At the end, somewhere it's a question of money. But the money, it's a small part of the partnership. We have to invest, we have to involve people, we have to think together, we have to change our manner to think, we have to accept to think with some other people, we have to discuss with students, we have to face in another manner the reality. It's a lot of things that we can do when we are partner with a business school, high school, in engineer school, which is not only a place to learn, but it's a place for research, it's a place to ask the company to be better. And I see some students who are here this year and who are involved in Schneider Electric for different topics. And my last thanks for you students, because sure we continue to be precursors. I'm not sure that 15 years ago we thought that we will be at the level where we are now. Certainly our ambition was to be more disseminated everywhere. Is not the case. It's why your contribution is key, and it's important that you have chosen such type of training and to have a degree on this topic. We need that for many different topics. Okay, we are speaking about decent work. It's very difficult in our company to deal with this reality after the first word, which are very simple, to translate that in the manner to drive the company, in the manner to drive in all the countries the relationship between our company and our suppliers and inside in our company. It's a lot of questions where we need you to transform the vision that we have and to put that at the right level, because sure, never we will think the future if we don't think the S in ESG. Thank you. It's because we have many discussions, because some people like you and you personally, that we change our company and we are able to face in a different manner such type of topic, to consider that it's a part of our strategy. For that, thank you.
Thank you very much. So now I will invite Yanis Zachary Bekti to share about his experience since the certificate.
Merci, Jade. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Jade. Thank you very much, Benedict. Thank you, of course, Mr. Hirsch, Mr. Yunus. Thank you, Mr. I was lucky enough to be at the certificate 5 years ago, or maybe more now. And since then, my career has been, well, quite, led me to different horizons. I've started my career in Africa as a strategy consultant. And then I've worked as a policy advisor and policy and economy advisor for ministers in Africa and in Middle East at the Tony Blair Institute, and afterwards with Atelier and Associates. So I was lucky enough to be at a high level of decision to see what change could look like. And I've tried to use what I've learned from the certificate, and I'll just give you a glimpse of it, three things mainly. The first is being okay with being divergent, with having, with disagreeing and pushing for my ideas. I give you an example, for instance. At my first job, while every year we were going to luxurious hotels for the getaway, the traditional company getaway, I've pushed for going to a social, an orphanage, yes. Of course, my colleagues, even if they liked me, they were asking me what I was doing with their 3 nights in a 5-star hotel and their buffet. But at the end, we had an impact. It was a small impact. It was worth maybe, it was a 2 hours talk with the manager, etc. But being convinced, I've managed to push that for that change. And the second thing is being creative and being curious. I see Charlie and David. They don't remember me, but I do remember well them. And I do remember the number of case studies that we have studied. And I was thinking, like, wow, it's amazing how people can do with so little things. And it joins the topic of frugal innovation. And it taught me to be creative and to try to, when I don't have a solution, to invent my solution. And that's what we did 5 years ago when we created a movie production company, because we didn't have anyone that wanted to produce our stories. So we just went for creating our own, and now we have signed a contract with Banija, an international movie production company, and we're working on our own series. And finally is being the change you want to see, being humble, but at the same time ambitious enough to take some risks. And again, it's thanks to my classmates, thanks to the whole team, because so many initiatives are taken in this certificate, and so many initiatives have been taken by the people that were in my place. And that's what we did. That's what we are doing now with Cedric, that is here. We are creating the Climate Investment, Mobilization and Access Partnership. It's an NGO that aims at fostering climate finance in Africa, at lowering the barriers in Africa, Asia, and Middle East, the regions that need the most those investments. And we did that because we were facing at the same time the results of climate change on the ground in Abidjan, whether it was in Abidjan, Algiers, Morocco. And we understood, we saw how difficult it is for entrepreneurs there to mobilize investment and capital. So in a nutshell, I think that thanks to the certificate, I just had the optimism, the reasonable optimism to push for my ideas and to take some risks to live like Lulu did, or Charlie, sorry, some Lulus everywhere, and I hope and actually I'm inviting you guys on the 19th June. We are launching the ClimeUp, the Climate Investment Mobilization and Access Partnership, and if you want to be part of this new venture, we will be more than happy to welcome you guys.
Thank you, Yunus. It was really inspiring. Hi everyone. I'm Ira Banerjee from West Bengal, India, and namaskar. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our keynote speaker today, who is also the honorary president of the Inclusive and Social Business Certificate at HEC, Professor Muhammed Yunus. Professor Yunus, of course, needs no introduction and is a Bangladeshi social entrepreneur, banker, and economist who was jointly awarded the prestigious Nobel Peace Prize in 2006 with Grameen Bank, who himself founded it, for pioneering the concepts of microcredit to help impoverished entrepreneurs who would otherwise not have qualified for traditional loans. Throughout his illustrious career, fueled by his belief that poverty is a denial of human rights, Professor Yunus has fought to eradicate the same globally and promote equal social and economic opportunities. Professor Yunus has been the recipient of numerous international awards for his humanitarian endeavors and has also been a member of the board of advisors and directors of various international organizations like the United Nations Foundations. Professor Yunus, thank you so much for being here among us today. And I now hand over to my colleague and very good friend from Bangladesh, Nasheed, to moderate the rest of the evening.
Great. Thank you, Ira. My name is Nasheed Jamal. I'm both an MBA student at HEC and an associate professor of neurology at UCLA. I was born and raised in Louisiana by Bangladeshi immigrants, actually one of whom is a PhD in economics. So I am especially thrilled to hear Professor Yunus's wisdom tonight. We'll start off with a question from one of our classmates in the certificate program. Professor Yunus, what are the misconceptions about poverty that we need to understand in order to design solutions that actually solve the problem of poverty at its root, rather than the symptoms of the problem?
Well, let me stand up, I guess. Thank you, thank you. You make me very emotional today because you all brought up all the people who have such an impact on my life, all here tonight. So I'm very grateful that you could show up, because when I was invited, I thought it was just a certificate, and it's assembled my life as it shaped, and you shaped my life the way we discussed and conducted and so on, particularly people that we worked together with the Action Tank, with all the people who were participants in the Action Tank, and of course Danone and yeah, that was another key person. Frank Ribot changed my life completely. And today you brought everybody together, and Makhtan is here, you're here. So it's an amazing evening for me. It's, you almost bring tears in my eyes when you remind me of the days that I have gone through in this context. And particularly to you, because I was very suspicious of the academics. And when she drives me to campus, that you have to talk to the students. We want to bring the subject into a classroom. I thought this would be something which will be just superficial. One of the many things they will be discussing in the classroom. I didn't realize how deeply Benedict got involved with it. Over time I saw what impact you have made globally, not just what you do here. Because when HEC does something, other schools turn around and take notice. Why are they doing this? Are they going nuts? What is the problem with them? But they didn't become serious because it's not disappearing. It continues and so on. So legitimacy that you brought together, all the people here and the people who are not present here, it changed my life, changed the way I do things. And I learned so many things talking to you, talking to the business leaders, which I didn't believe at all that have anything to do with social aspects of life and so, business and so on. So that reshaped me completely. Today I remember, I hope someday Benedict and you could write the history of how it developed, the whole thing, why you got involved with it, why Frank Rivaux got involved with it, how the Action Tank came, others participated. Because that is a study for every single young person who want to start something for life as a social business or whatever way they want to contribute. And I'm very happy that I have all the students here because my journey began with the students. I took the students with me to go to the village, try to understand what it is. So it was not me alone trying to figure that out. It's collectively we're trying to figure out how to do things, particularly opening up the door for the women, because that door was closed for me because being a man. So it's my girl students who really worked hard to open the door and communicate and transform the whole thing that we do and transform the whole world because of that. That women coming out as entrepreneur, illiterate, neglected, forgotten people in Bangladesh in the villages suddenly take responsibility and started using money. Any bank will be proud of with the repayment record and everything they have demonstrated over years and years and years. So that transformed everything. So that community, when I see the students here, I remember that. This is the community, this is the group who will transform things along the way, how to make that happen. Coming back to the question about the poverty, I always try to explain the poverty is not created by poor people. That was fundamental belief that I came up with, dealing with poverty every day in every way. One of our work we did, with reason we took our girl students with me, not only to meet them, explain, also to learn about their life history, about who they are, what is the, how was she, where was she born, where are their parents, how many children they have, how many people, brothers and sisters they grow up with. Very strong, painful story after story, just to learn about the person how she is. One of the things just to mention, they could not tell what the name is, her name is, because she either never had a name or she has forgotten the name. And the reason was, when she was born, she was, but since she has to be introduced to somebody, she's somebody's daughter. She's introduced as somebody's daughter. When you grow up, get married, you are somebody's wife. When you have children, you are somebody's mother. And you are somebody's grandmother. So the whole phase of having a name disappeared completely in her life. She cannot recollect. Even if she had a name, it was never used. She doesn't remember. So our effort to give her a name so that she has an identity, because that's a basic thing she lost completely along the way. And to recollect her life, and the tears will flow down, recollecting her life. She cannot remember how old she is, because that number never counted for her. She doesn't have a number how many old. So we try to understand the age of the person. So we discussed how to do that. So we came up with an idea. We said, how old are you when the great flood came? Because everybody remembers some great flood. So that's the reference point. Oh, I was probably 5-year-old
And my mother was taking me, trying to protect me. We're in the tree, we're in this. She starts talking about the Great Flood. So that's a reference point. How old are you when the War of Liberation took place? Everybody's rushing to save their life. Oh, I was 15-year-old at that time, and I was already married and so on. So trying to catch the date and the things, because she doesn't have an age. So this is the people that we worked with, and we continue to do that. And try to reincarnate her as a human being, as a person, that she can do something, build up courage in her. And saying, when she said, no, don't give the money to me, I don't want to take money, it's a big risk, I don't want to create trouble for me. We tell my students, look, I keep telling, when she says all those things, I don't want to take money, always remember, this is not her words. It is the word of the history that she has come up with. That history is a history of rejection, history of fear. She's buried under the layers and layers of fear that society has generated for her. She has no life except for layers of fear and terrifying experiences in her life. She is speaking behind those layers. So this is not the person they're talking about. So what we do, we go back again and again, tell the story, how other people are doing, what can be done, and gradually peel off the fear, layers and layers of fear, and hoping that someday one of them will say, maybe I should try. I said, that will be the beginning. That will be our life starting a shape that, yes, now she said, I'll try. If she tries, and if she's successful in doing it correctly that she is imagining, then everybody else will become curious. How did she do it? Maybe I should do it too. I said, that was the beginning. It took us 5 years to come to that point, to say that, yes, I will do that. Once it happened, it opened up everything. So continue to do that. So that is a long-term kind of process of overcoming the past to come to the level you can deal with the present. So when you say poverty, poverty is not just what we see right now. It's not a snap you take right now. It's a whole history that came. And history is a very painful one, a very unkind one. It is not her fault. She's as real human being as anybody else. Once that fear is overcome, she takes the money, confidently use this money, pay you back, and feels tall that I can do it. I can show to all my family members that I'm not a worthless person, that you always tell me I am. And she feels that her children will admire her for the work she does. So this is the world poverty is about. Poverty is not created that person. I said poverty is created because we wiped off everything for her, closed all the doors for her. And that's what poverty is imprisonment. You are imprisoned, then you talk about all kinds of things outside the prison. I said, first you have to open the door so that real person can come out of it. It's a process. It's not an instantaneous action. That is something happens. So we have to deal with it in that way to do that. Because everything we did in our conceptual framework, all the thing we did, is a wrong thing. As a result, we imprisoned billions of people in this trap that we have created. So to release them, you go back to the formula, unlock them. Do it opposite. Go back and open the lock. And they will come, but they're as good human being as anybody else, as entrepreneurial, as creative, as dedicated in changing her status or her life as anybody could be. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Yunus. We have one more question from our students before we open the floor to our audience. Which current projects have the potential to have as or more impact than Grameen Bank?
Well, I was just smiling at him because just now I was talking to him about that project. It was a very dear project for all of us. We have been focusing on healthcare right from the day we began as a Grameen Bank, in a tiny, tiny thing in the village. Because when you're coming close to a poor person, immediately see what happens to her family on the health front. If you are poor in health. All diseases find a very attractive target to come to you. And their children as a most attractive target for all the diseases, all the deformation and so on that you can have. And there's no cure for that. And all kinds of wrong prescriptions, thank you. All kinds of wrong ideas float around. You do this and your child will get better. You do this, your health will feel better and so on. But that's not treatment, that's not health and so on. So we got involved with it right from the beginning. We said, if you want to deal with poor people, you should know how to deal with their health. Otherwise, they are nobody. So one after another we did. There's a long history. First thing we did about the toilets. There's no toilet. I said that spreads diseases everywhere. So one of the rules we made in Grameen Bank, if you want to join Grameen Bank, you have to dig a hole and use it rather than go out anywhere you want. Initially, they reacted very negatively, but the older borrowers who were already in the bank, he said, you better do that, otherwise they will not give the money. So it's no way you can get the door open for them, for you. So finally, reluctantly to do that, they use it and so on. Then we started doing that. Then we gave toilet loans so that you can put a real toilet in your home. We created a company, a business, to produce toilet in the village so that your carrying cost and all this is eliminated. And then Grameen Bank gives you a toilet loan. Have you heard about toilet loan in French Bank? But we give lots of toilet loans. It's a very important loan for us to make sure she has a toilet and start feeling dignified. She doesn't have, and the women are the sufferers of not having a toilet. Men can go out anytime they want, but women have to wait until the darkness of night. She's not allowed to go in the daytime. And pain that they have suffered. I have get hugs from Bangladeshi rural women on discount. Women don't hug in Bangladesh, but they do it because you saved us from the torture of hell to wait until that darkness. Now we can go anytime we want. What a relief, what an energy. So this healthcare thing we built up again, step by step. Then we created healthcare centers, we created hospitals, eye care hospitals, series of eye care hospitals as a social business to help people solve problems rather than make money for ourselves. Then we created a nursing college, and it became the top nursing college in the country. We are so proud of that nursing college right now. And I was explaining to Makhtan that we are now getting into the second nursing college. Valerie has visited nursing college. She knows all about it. We are so proud because the young girls come from the villages without any experience of any healthcare, go to the city, they become the top nurses of the country. And now they are being recruited by the British Nursing Service and their National Health Service. Their recruiters are coming from Japan to recruit them, to take them to Japan. The quality-wise, they are satisfied every condition they have. So we are very proud of that. Now we are trying to build a second hospital, because, second nursing college, because there's so much demand. And so why not? It's a social business. They pay you back, they continue to have good education, and you run the whole institution by the income that you generate from the system. So what is the problem? There's plenty of girls in the system. So we are focused on the healthcare. The latest one that I was explaining, and that's the most favorite, I thought this is something we can do. We have already created the whole plan for a 500-bed hospital, a centralized thing where all the top-level doctors and nurses will work and will treat, and everybody will come for healthcare in Bangladesh so that they don't have to go to other countries for healthcare services and so on. So this is one. And then we said that we'll make the stay in the hospital as short as possible, because stay in a hospital is a very expensive thing for people. And sometimes doctors just don't recommend you to go out because they will be out of touch. So stay in the hospital bed, but nothing much you have to do with that. It's very expensive. You're occupying the hospital bed at the same time, make it very expensive. So what we are saying that we'll create a a hotel type of facility, so that you just next to the hospital, so that you can go to the hotel, stay there, whatever appointment you have, you can come back, or doctors can visit you and make it happen. And then we're saying that even if you go back your home, wherever your home is, your bed in your home will be a hospital bed, because we provide service from the hospital. on the internet, on the virtual platform will service you, the doctors and so on, so that you feel confident that yes, you are not out of touch with the healthcare. That idea led to creating a digital healthcare system. A digital healthcare system where you get all the health services through the app, and you can download the app, find the kind of thing you are looking for, doctor's appointment, lab test, whatever, and it will be done on the virtual platform and so on. So we have done that preparation, and I was explaining to Maktan that first thing we're hoping to launch it by the second part of this year, so that we can prepare everything. We're now on the way there. I said, first thing we'll do on this digital healthcare, we already decided and also already made the preparations to launch it, is the pregnancy. Because women cannot communicate the problem they have in the family, even to go to doctor. For women to go to a doctor is a big, big hassle because men don't have time, they are too busy. So she doesn't know how to handle that, particularly if you're first time pregnant, you don't know what to do. So we said, you don't have to worry, you have a mobile phone. Everybody in Bangladesh luckily have telephone, because we created something called Grameen phone long back, and we are the company who brought the telephone service to the poorest women. That was our goal, and we met it. Brought the phone to the hands of the women so that they become the telephone lady of the village. If you have to make a phone call, you have to come to her, because nobody else has a phone. She's the only one who has the phone. That's the company policy we decided. So everybody comes to her, she makes lots of money, she transforms her life, and in the meantime, she holds the technology in her hand. We never thought she could ever conquer that, but now it becomes a natural thing for her. So we did that. So telephone is everywhere in Bangladesh. So we said, okay, we can bring the healthcare service to telephone, or the digital healthcare, and first one would be pregnancy. And follow you through the pregnancy all throughout the period, keep in touch and help you overcome your fears, overcome your problems, and whatever need is, we can try to serve you and help you deliver the baby. And then take care of the newborn and so on. So this will be first service that we want to introduce, see how popular it gets that people are willing to pay for that kind of service, nominal payment. And also we said some of these services will make it free, so that we are not here to make money for you, this is free, but if you want this service, you have to pay a little bit here. So this social business idea comes in. So we are fondly looking for it, how to develop it, how to make it happen. These are ideas and theories, but the practical thing bring lots of other problems. But that's what we are for, addressing those problems, how to make it happen. The idea is the important, the imagination will lead us to the direction that we are in. And gradually we'll add other diseases, one by one, so that patients can come depending on what service we are providing. Ultimately, we'll have a whole slew of services coming, hopefully, through this internet and so on. Then we're saying that then we'll make the whole healthcare service a complete service. You have eye care centers, you have your health centers in the villages, you can visit, you can do that. You can go to, if your hospitalization is needed, his hospital is there. If you leave the hospital, hospital will follow you up at your home bed, wherever you are, and so on. So you are not outside the coverage of a health system. So everywhere we'll either have some physical thing, some virtual thing, and we keep it connected. So we are hoping that this thing will work, and we need collaboration, we need support, and Sajas, he has been running the healthcare program here in France for a long time, so we're seeking his advice how to proceed on that. That's our favorite thing. We want to make it happen, because healthcare is not problem of Bangladesh alone, it's a global problem. So we must be able to address that. This may be still a very elementary stage, but we must find a way healthcare will be as natural as anything else in the world. It's a breathing and so on, enjoying your life. But healthcare will not be something of an issue that I don't have it, I don't have the access to it, it's too expensive for me, it's too far away from me. We have to remove that thing, and that's the civilization that we want to build. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Yunus. What incredibly impactful projects. So now I'll open the floor to the audience. I'm sure we have many questions among the alumni and our students and professors.
Okay, I'll just speak like this. So I remember when we studied the case study of Brandon Danone food, you suggested that a corporate solution in Bangladesh is like a network of small-scale manufacturing instead of a large plant. And I think that speaks to something about speeding up social business. I'd like to know what are the lessons you've been learned about social business, and especially on speeding up.
The idea was at that time, Danone came in a big, powerful way to Bangladesh to see if we can address this issue of malnutrition. That's what your subject was done. So all kinds of specialists from the Danone framework came to Bangladesh. One of them is the designer of a plant, where to produce the yogurt, and what will be the shape of this, size and the shape of this factory. He came to see me to get my view of what is my expectation from this factory, what are the kind of services we would look for. So immediately I said, look, if you are looking for a factory for yogurt, it should be away from Dhaka, it should be remote places, so that you start servicing the people who live next to your factory. This is number one. And you make the smallest factory technically feasible. Make it as small as you can. He just gave me a blank look. He said, you want the smallest factory? I said, yes, it's the smallest factory. He said, no, every time Danone asks me, they're always asking, the previous factory is this size, you make it double the size, next one. So that's what they asked me when we came to China, they wanted a big factory. When we came to Indonesia, they want the double size of the Chinese factory. So every time they're doubling, they're making big. And you're talking about the smallest feasible. Why is that? I said, it's very simple, so that we don't have to carry the yogurt far away from the factory, so that the carrying part is completely cut off. It's not headache for us. So have the cold chain required and so on. You are serving the neighbors almost. That's the kind of factory you want. Then you know what is happening to their children, because these are the consumers of your yogurt, whether they are benefiting. If they are benefiting, you'll get excited. Our work is, it's not disconnected. I make the yogurt, I don't know what they do with it. I have no idea what it is. So no, you see what it is. Their milk will come to your factory, milk that their cows are producing, and their children will be benefiting from that. And we remove the cold chain idea so that you can serve the neighborhood. And if it works, it's amazing story. Then we can do another one, another one, another one. So wherever, so you do not have to wait for central location to deliver yogurt to all over the country. So that was the experience. And he said, I will try. About a week later, he came back, very excited. You know, Dr. Yunus, I got something. I said, what did you get? He said, the smallest factory possible. I made it. I said, okay, congratulations, you did it. Not only that, that's not the story. The story is, this is a better factory than the biggest factory I made. I put all the technology that is available today into this tiny little factory, and you'll get every service that we have. I'm so proud of myself that I could make that happen. And he did it, and he was very proud of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Yunus. We know the time is getting late, so would you like to take one more question? Okay, does anyone have one last question for Professor Yunus?
Thank you so much for being with us today. My question is maybe for the students that will be starting their career soon. I feel that I feel a bit overwhelmed with all the social issues that are coming on top of the environmental issues with climate change and all of that. So my question is, how can we not be overwhelmed by all of that? Where do we start, and how can we act and not just stay in our fears? Thank you.
I'll put it this way. You presented your story, the problems and overwhelming. I said you can also, you have another reaction. Get excited. Get excited that there are so many problems. So many room for me to work. So many options for me. See? And I try to bring some issue that I was explaining. People saying that if you are born in the USA or a country which doesn't have any problem, what did you do? Because there's no problem there. I said, I'll be very disappointed because I have nothing to do. Everything is already done. I said, now I'm so lucky I'm born in Bangladesh. There problem after problem. You turn around your problem. You touch your finger, each finger touches 1,000 problems. So I said, I'm very excited. I have so much opportunity to see that what I can do for them. So you look this as an opportunity list. Make your choice because you have options. You're not restricted to one problem. You are free to create problem or sub-problem and address it. So see this as an opportunity of expressing yourself, your creative power. Look at the problem in an angle that nobody else looked at it. It's all a question of looking at it, which angle you're looking at. And suddenly you found an angle what makes it very clear. But another angle looks very complicated. I said, if you go deep into the problem, solution is built into the problem. Solution is not outside. Simply, we never have patience to go inside. You say, oh, what's the problem? Okay, you do this. That's how it is done. You never touch that problem. You just thought you had this problem. There's a package solution for you. Open the can and you use it. That's not how it is done. It's the people. Every problem you see, people are involved. So you have to see through their eyes how they got into it. Because somehow it began. How did it begin? Beginning part is important. Then you see, start from there. Not you see the result part of it, you get stuck. You don't have the history of the problem. So you don't know where it originated, how it continues, how they got used to it. So I would say, responding to you, feel excited about it. So many things to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Yunus. Do you have time for one final question? One question? Okay, one. Someone's up there? No, here. Here.
No, there was one question. Time for one question. I will try to ask the question like this. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, right. So the chair HEC has been launched 15 years ago when you have started the social business 25 years ago, approximately. And what can be said by you about the evolution of the social business throughout the world and how has it evolved in so many countries? I remember the forums that we have lived together in Berlin and some others. I remember the number of countries that were interested in developing the social business. So what can evolution be?
Thank you for asking that question, because that's why I'm so grateful to Paris and all the people I met in Paris. You opened the door. People needed an example. You created so many powerful examples. I don't know how many times, probably hundreds of thousands of times I have to tell the story of Danone. They already know that, but they want to hear it from me. Because that impresses them. They take it as something that they can do. Because they don't believe that big companies are interested, ever be interested. Why do you go to Danone? They're going to use you. And this was a press interview for me. I'm being quoted many times that this story, that after we signed with the Danone and we are saying that Danone was doing something big thing in Bangladesh, addressing the poor people, et cetera, et cetera. One journalist in a press conference asked me, don't you think Danone is using you to publicizing their company, their work? And so he goes on attacking Danone, and I'm being used as a tool to give glory to Danone. So I looked at him and looked at him. When he finishes his question, I kind of mimicked, kind of as a shocked. I said, I'm shocked that Danone is using me as a tool. I thought I'm using them as a tool. Because nobody knows about social business and all that thing. Suddenly, Danone gives me an opportunity to explain what social business is. And I keep telling and keep telling. Without Danone, I could not express these things at all. So I said, I'm using them, so write down, tell people I'm using Danone. So that's how it all began, one after another. And then come HEC, I was trying to explain what a tremendous change it has done. Because nobody will, the longest pole will touch in an academic world something called social business. This is a crazy thing that's done by NGOs. And this is not serious thing. They will not touch. Suddenly, SHE comes, started giving courses on certificate on social business, courses on social business, lectures on social business. When I carry this message to other universities, they get shocked. What happened to HSA? Are they going nuts? They don't tell this is what they're doing. Your students may apply, get to the certificate course, come back and see what this is all about. So that had an impact. The fact that HEC is doing it in a serious kind. It's not a casual kind, it's continuing. Today we are celebrating 15th anniversary of that program by distributing the certificates and so on. Today, because of HEC, other universities became interested to create what they call Yunus Social Business Center at the university, which is a concrete initiative by the university. It's very difficult for any university to get the approval of the university authority to create a center for something. It's a very complicated procedure. Universities take passion, some teachers take passions to go through this whole process, finally to get the approval of the university authority to create a center for social business, and allocate a space, a room, a facility, a faculty. It's complicated for them because you have to allocate now that you approved it, and then that. Today, there are 103 social business centers in 38 countries, all led by, because of the example HEC created. See, one thing led to so many things, because you need a support, need encouragement to open it up. Young teachers were the first one to move forward, that we want to do that. We want to explain, we want to understand. We don't understand the whole thing. By teaching the courses, we'll understand it and make the students understand it. And now we are going around with suggesting and promoting the idea of creating 30 clubs. And the university social business centers are getting interested. What is this 30 clubs? Explain to us. So we have to have Zoom meetings to explain what is this 30 clubs and so on. We have a lecture series that we promote in our system. And I said, all these lecture series is useful for your social business centers wherever you are, because these are the experience of the people who are running those businesses. Yeah? And you're free to ask questions to them. And this is all in the YouTube. You can go anytime you want and find out what it is. So I'm saying that this is how spread effect comes. This is how learning effect comes. And also legitimacy, because somebody else did it. And they are recognized institution, so we are doing that. You can argue with your own university authority. You're not the first one to do this crazy thing. There are other crazy people who already done it. So this is how it is done. So this is what spreads the whole idea of social business. And then example of Danone comes back. When we talk to the companies, we address the business community. When they say, okay, they think it is good for NGOs. They do all kinds of things, but our business is not. Then we come with the example of Danone. Why did they do it? Then we talk about McCain. Why do they do it? So one after another. We talk about Uniqlo. Wow, this is crazy. Arab, are we missing something? They're all doing it from different countries. What has happened to us? So those questions come to the very, very tough brains of the CEOs and people who are running businesses and so on. So they can soften about it, they cannot dismiss outright. That's the whole thing. Thank you.
Professor Yunus, dhanyavad, merci beaucoup. Thank you for an incredible, inspiring evening. Before we leave, I think we're taking one group picture with you, if that's all right.
Thank you very much to you three and to, Professor Yunus, and I want to thank the students for having prepared this whole event together with Elizabeth again and whom? Sorry, tell me. All the organizers? Yes, you didn't stand up. Okay. And yes, I wanted also to thank some finance profs who taught social, microfinance and in these important topics like Laurence. And I like to also to highlight the presence of Laurence and Rachel, who is not here, but important also actors of this certificate, this whole adventure as well. So let's celebrate together, enjoy having a drink together and celebrating. That's it. And thank you so much again. And thank you so much.